Welcome to Off the Coast, where we examine the views from Vancouver Island with your host, Rosemary Barnes. New and exciting things, preserved and respected things, business, recreation, politics, travel, all from the point of view of the people living and working on the island. Rosemary is a professional speaker and certified speaking coach living in historic Ladysmith and loving every day of the island life. Here is your Vancouver Island host, Rosemary.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or morning or evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to Off the Coast, Views from Vancouver Island. I'm your host, Rosemary Barnes, bringing you yet another scintillating episode of life on our incredibly beautiful island of Vancouver Island. Today, my guest is Heather Clark, who is known on the island as the Island Oil Lady. And no, this is not a reference to the kind of oil you put into your cars. Heather's saying is that she works to create happy, healthy families one drop at a time. Heather, welcome to the show.
Hi, Rosemary. Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
This is an interesting story. So let me first get a little bit of background on you. Are you Vancouver Island born and bred?
I am not, but I've been here for almost 20 years, so I kind of feel like I'm pretty much been here, well, not even quite half of my life, but the best part of my life.
So the best part of your life is right, because where else would you choose to live, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. So now you work with essential oils and for healing, yes?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
All right. So being an absolute rube, a babe in the woods about essential oils, can you walk me through a little bit of what they are, where they come from, and how you got involved?
Sure. Maybe I'll start with how I got involved. Because I really had no idea, like most people, what essential oils were, except for that I knew that they smelled really nice, that you could buy them at like a health food store, and that you could burn a candle and your house would smell great. So that was me, and I did own essential oils, and I did use them for making my house smell nice. And then I ended up going through some serious health issues. And what led me up to the health issue that led me to the oils was about 10 years ago, I was in a very, very serious car accident.
Oh, dear.
So I had lost the ability to do pretty much everything, which meant I lost my career and really had to start from scratch. And as much as it was a horrific, horrible thing, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And it is what led me to the oils, which has led me to my purpose and my passion. So, going back 10 years ago, being very difficult because I was like the extreme workaholic. I was going to university full time. I was working full time. I was on the board of directors at John Howard Society and all these, nonprofit things. And I was living this perfectly awesome, toxic life. And I say that because at the time I thought everything was so great, but I had no idea that I think this whole car accident thing was the universe sort of saying, slow down, Heather. So I of course I can only see that now. Wasn't quite so grateful for that message in the moment. So I started having no choice but to get healthy and figure out things to do to get healthy. And so I dealt with all kinds of things from, relearning how to do stuff and then some physical stuff, with 24/7 headaches from the head injury and depression and anxiety that sort of came with losing my identity and all of those things. And it wasn't until, I was starting to get my health back when I woke up one morning and I was like in a bit of a cold sweat and I thought, oh, it's, flu. And it didn't go away. And I thought, okay, so I would just get out of bed and walk 20 steps to the bathroom and I would just be sweating and I'd be like, okay, this isn't a flu. It's not going away. So I choose to not necessarily go and see my doctors very often because I usually try and either figure it out myself, or I really like to try healthy alternatives to things, because my doctors aren't exactly the greatest in that department. So I went to my pharmacist, who I got connected with when I was going through some different issues, and I explained to him what was going on, and he said, "Oh, you have adrenal fatigue." And I'm like, "Adrenal fatigue? Like, what is that?" So he explained to me, that is why I wasn't being able to get out of bed. He explained to me how that all works, and so I said to him, "Okay, so what do I need to do to get better from adrenal fatigue?" And he said, "You need to rest and stay home and read books and go to yoga and all that kind of stuff." And I said, "Okay, well, I kind of already do that because I can't work. But, how long is this going to take? I need to get up. I need to be able to make dinner for my family and walk my dog." And he said, "Oh, 2 or 3 months." And I went, 2 or 3 months?
Oh, my. No. See, this doesn't wash for a type A person. No.
Exactly. I was losing the type A, but I immediately came back to no. So Google being my best friend at the time, I searched and I found an article about nutmeg oil. And I'd heard of nutmeg when people cooked things. I didn't have any idea what I was getting myself into, but I started reading up on it and thinking, okay, I need to get some nutmeg oil. Maybe this is gonna help me. So I had a friend who had posted stuff about oils, so I sent her a message. I said, I need nutmeg oil. So she said, buy the oil kit and buy the nutmeg, and all the other oils are gonna really help you. And I'm like, I just want the nutmeg oil. Just give it to me. I just need a quick fix here. So it came in the mail within just a couple of days. It came to my door. And within a week, I was 100%. And I was like, okay, I was jumping up. I was back to doing my hikes in the forest every day, and I was feeling great. And I was like, okay, still kind of thinking that maybe it wasn't necessarily the nutmeg oil. But I had all these other oils that I had got when I bought the kit. So I started looking at each of the oils and thinking, well, I'll just take one each day, do a little research, and use my family as guinea pigs. So really, it was a game for me. It was really fun to say, okay, at that time my husband had been taking Advil every day. He had sinus headaches his whole life, so he's always taking Advil for headaches. So I said to him, okay, would you be willing for me to try this particular oil and not use Advil for a bit and just give it a go? And so he was, sort of on board. I had to kind of push him a little. And we haven't had Advil in my home for 2 years, right? So that's how the oil sort of started. I had some time on my hands to research, and I started thinking, oh my God, I think these oils actually work. Maybe I should try this. Maybe I should try that. And so it became, my neighbor would get sick, and so I would drop them off a little concoction made with coconut oil and some little oil, and off I'd go and drop it off, and they'd phone me back, and they'd go, wow, that works. And so it took me a long time to really kind of believe that they were working and to see that they were working, and for everybody to start calling me saying, okay, well, my friend's got this. What can you do for that? And it was I had the time to sit back and do all this research. So that kind of, yeah.
You are Dr. Heather.
Kind of, yeah. Without the medical letters behind my name, I really am.
Dr. Heather, the oil lady.
Right.
So tell me, did you create a concoction to help with your husband's headaches, or was it a one kind of oil? How do you know when you're creating your concoctions what percentages to put in and the like of that? Is there anything out there to guide you, or is this through experience? Tell me, how do you create your prescriptions?
Well, definitely it has a lot to do with my intuition, partly, and there is a lot of really, really good information that I just so happened to, when I ordered my nutmeg oil without having any knowledge at all, ordered it from the top #1 company in the whole world who specializes in being one of, like all the essential oils on the market, and there are a lot, as you probably can see, and you can get them at Walmart now. There's only 2% in the whole market that are actually therapeutic grade. So if I was to tell you to go and get a drop of peppermint, put it in the palm of your hand and to smell it, and it would get rid of your headache. If you went to Walmart or even the health food store and did that, you might not get the relief from your headache because it might not be the therapeutic grade. So that's part of it, is the therapeutic grade. And it's also knowing a little bit about the headache and where it comes from, like what type of headache, and also the experience of other, what I call oilers. I'm not talking about hockey
Edmonton
players. Yeah, I'm talking about other crazy women like me who've decided that they don't need to have drugs in their cupboard and toxins in their homes, and they've just switched everything for oil. And so a lot of them have been using oils for many, many years. So I have a lot of sort of experienced oilers that I can check in with.
Well, now this sounds along the lines of homeopathy, and as you say, there's good and there's not quite therapeutic grade, and so there must be a big price difference between the over-the-shelf variety and the kind that actually works.
Actually, believe it or not, there's not. There isn't.
Really?
No. And, I mean, you can buy really cheap oils. Like at Walmart, I'm sure you could maybe get a bottle of lavender for $10 or $15. They're probably $20 to $28, $25 at the health food store. And I could sell someone it for $25 to $30. So it is a little bit more expensive. But knowing what I know now, I would tell everyone, go and throw those out. Because if they aren't therapeutic grade, that means that there's something in those oils that they've added. And they only have to have 5%. Like every bottle you purchase says 100% lavender, 100% peppermint, if you've ever looked on the bottle. And they only have to have 5% in it to say that.
Oh, goodness. So what else is in there?
So, well, it depends on the company and what they've done to fillers, whether it's alcohol or blended with some kind of a carrier oil in it. So my thing is, if you don't know what's in it, it's going to go into your skin and into your body and do all kinds of stuff. So what else is going to go into your skin and do all kinds of stuff? So the oil.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so the oils, like if I don't know what I'm putting in my body, I'm not going to put it in my body, right?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
How do you, okay, this is going to show absolute ignorance on my part, and it's purely lack of knowledge. So I'm coming to the expert here. What do you do with the oil? Do you sniff it? Do you smear it on? Do you cook it with it? What do you do with oil, essential oils?
That's a great question. And you know what? Most people don't know. And so what you want to do is when you have a therapeutic grade oil, which like I said is 2% of the market, and these are incredibly powerful oils, you want to get them into your body. So there's different ways you can do that. You can put it in a diffuser. You wouldn't want to have a hot diffuser or a candle burning it because you're going to burn away all the good from it. So you can
so heat is no good.
Right, no heat.
Okay.
You can have a diffuser that's going to diffuse it. You can, there's just so many different ways. So you can put it, you can just put it on your hands and breathe it in that way. So however you can breathe it into you. You can put it in some, kind of hot water even and breathe it in that way. You can put it right on your skin. And with therapeutic grade oils, which is what you wouldn't want to do with other oils especially, is ingest them. So oh
my goodness.
Yeah. I have oil, water, whenever I drink my water, it's always oil infused because there are so many incredible benefits to the plant oil that why not, when I'm drinking water, why not be drinking the benefits of peppermint oil, let's say, in my water? because peppermint oil is going to kind of act as like a caffeine. It's going to, kind of wake me up. It's really good for my tummy. There's sort of all these different things that peppermint oil can do. So if I'm drinking my water, why wouldn't I put a drop of peppermint oil in with it too? So the key is to get the oils into your body. So if you can imagine a plant and thinking of essential oils as being the blood of the plant, and it's going to come out of the plant, and you're going to be putting that high vibrational blood from a plant into your body, which is going to raise your vibration. So, there's different oils that do different things, depends on the chemistry of the oil. But what I say to people is, or what people say to me is, Heather, you use oils all the time, but you're not sick. And my answer is exactly. So I'm raising the vibration of my body because I'm putting this goodness into my body all the time. And some of the oils do different types of things. So some of the oils are working for my immune system, and some are doing this and that. And I might be putting lavender on my feet every night because it's going to help me sleep. And I mix it with cedarwood, which helps me sleep. But what else is cedarwood and lavender doing while it's in my body, while it's helping me sleep, right?
Okay.
So this is where you turn into an oiler.
So it turns you into an oiler. So what you're saying to me is that oils, essential oils, are not really oils in the sense of being greasy.
They can be a bit greasy, yeah. They feel like an oil, but they have teeny tiny molecules in them that will penetrate into your body, whereas let's say olive oil or something, which is an oil, it doesn't have small molecules, so it won't go through into all of your body.
So when you put a drop of peppermint oil in your water, is it greasy?
No, it does. It can float to the top of the water a little bit, so it does look like it could look very much like it could be a drop of another oil. But because the molecules are so incredibly tiny, they actually penetrate and will go into your body. And some of the oils will even pass through the blood-brain barrier, which even some medications can't do, which is why I was able to, once I got through going through the adrenal fatigue and helping my family and doing all of that stuff, and I was at that point getting injections in my brain every 2.5 months for my head injury. And I woke up one day and I thought, if I can do all of this with oils, and I started taking these chemistry classes, and if they can pass through the blood-brain barrier that most medications haven't ever been able to do, I wonder what it could do to my head injury. So that was where my next exciting thing was to really research and find oils, specific oils, that would pass through that and go to my brain and heal my brain so that I am now completely drug-free because I have no injections in my head anymore.
Wow. You must have really hurt yourself.
Yeah, I think the universe really wanted me to slow down.
Wow. Because it sure made sure you did.
Yeah, it really did. I was in such a state of stress and busyness in my life that something small happening to me probably wouldn't have stopped me in my tracks. I really needed something big, and something big that would lead me. These oils have actually brought me to what my purpose is.
Isn't that fantastic? When we were talking about the blood-brain barrier, what about the mother fetus barrier?
Mm-hmm.
So, one would assume that if it can cross the blood barrier in the brain, that it will also cross into the amniotic fluid, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, do you have to be very careful about amounts and whatnot for a pregnant woman or a breastfeeding woman?
Yes, there are certain oils that, there's a book out actually that's great that I'm able to give to women who have small children or who are expecting. because there are certain oils that maybe would stop the milk from coming or slow down the milk process and to do certain things. So there definitely are some, for anybody to get the oils, they are accessible to anyone, but I really truly believe that people should get someone like me when they get the oils, somebody who's going to teach them how to use them. And, like I don't recommend people using the oils what they call neat, which means alone without an added oil to it. Like I think going really slow. So, I had a woman once who was in such a state of quick fix that she ordered the oil kit, and then she called me a few days later and she said, I hate these oils. They give me headaches. And I asked her what she did. Well, she just plastered them all over her body, and she didn't read any of the information I gave her, and she wasn't interested in anything. And so, trying to explain to her that these are extremely powerful oils and they're going to do incredible stuff, but you've got to know what you're doing, right? It's really important to know what you're doing. And so I always say, when you first get an oil, mix it with some coconut oil and rub it on your feet. Or, and as your body gets used to them, and then you can kind of eventually be able to, like me, put a drop down my throat or, rub it into my cheek or wherever I need to use it. So
this is sounding awfully potent. I would be very frightened to use these things without Dr. Heather. I mean, it sounds like you could do yourself some serious harm.
Well, I think more than I really don't think you could really harm yourself. I mean, unless you just take a bottle and drank it. But what happens a lot of times with people is they go through like a detoxing of their body, which sometimes they would come to me and say, I've got a headache or something like that. And that could be your body just sort of detoxing through that. But yeah, I really like to let people know that it is really important. But, we should be doing that with Tylenol and Advil and the stuff we take, Neocitrin and all those things, right? All of those things come with some kind of, we need to think before we put it in our body. And if we get a headache, then what is the reaction? Or, the nice thing about essential oils is that you don't have to worry about side effects, right? From, you see these commercials about, these medications and, if you stop breathing for 5 minutes, go to the hospital or whatever, right? So, there isn't.
The qualifiers at the end of some of these commercials are much longer than the commercials, and the announcers are talking so quickly that you swear that they've had underwater diving experience because they can go on forever. And they talk about it may cause, anal leakage and swelling of the brain, and it's horrifying.
Yeah.
What these drugs will do.
That's right. Whereas you don't have the side effects with essential oils. The essential oils don't have an expiry date. So if you buy an oil, as long as they're not directly in the sun and the lid's on tight, they don't have, if they are the pure essential, like therapeutic grade essential oils, they don't have an expiry date on them.
So to get these oils, you'd have to, call you. And so then it becomes a question to me of, all right, you pay for the oils. Do your clients also pay you for the diagnosis, as it were?
No. So I don't like to work with people in that area. I like to educate people how to do that themselves. I strongly recommend that they work with their physicians, doctors, whoever they have, because I am not a doctor. So right off the bat, what I do is teach them what I've learned is how to find the information and how, when you order the oils through me, I give you a lot of information. And for some of the people, I can give them even more because I don't want to overwhelm people, but there is so much really great information about how to use the oils. There's a phone app that I suggest everybody gets, that you're able to, search through, either pick an oil and click on that oil and it'll tell you what are its uses. Or if you're out and you've got your phone and the little boy beside you gets a bee sting and you can't remember what oil you could use to help them with that, you could just click on that and it would kind of give you a list of the oils and how to use them. So I like to educate people how to find the answers themselves. So I'm not giving medical advice ever to people. I just sort of say, here you go, here's your oils. If you come up with something, I will help you research and show you what you can do with them and what you might want to be careful around.
Well, and you'd have to be very careful about that because, we're not in the United States, but people are sued in Canada as well for giving medical advice that eventually causes harm and the like of that. So you would have to tread really carefully.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So, so when people are interested in the oils, I give them all the information and usually they order an oil kit, which comes with a diffuser and 11 essential oils that are the sort of main oils that are going to really help you in pretty much everyday life, from helping get the fleas off your pets to kind of, keeping your immune system up to headaches and that kind of thing. So, and then, so it's kind of a really fun, thing to purchase for your family, and especially love it when I can get people to get their children involved. So to teach their children, how to say, Mom, I've got a headache, where's the peppermint? As opposed to, Mom, I've got a headache, where's the Advil? And, that kind of thing. So that kind of thing is what my purpose has really always been, and I've all my career stuff that I've done is working with women on, being healthy and wellness coaching type stuff. So this is kind of where I'm at. Is I really like to, people come to me because they need a quick fix or they have a question, but I like to kind of, sometimes they become coaching clients so that I can say, okay, so where are these reoccurring headaches? I would rather not tell them how to fix their headache, but try to help them figure out why they have a headache in the first place.
And so you take on clients for this.
Yeah, so the oils can be a secondary. So I get clients, coaching clients who have issues in their life, and I might recommend oils, or I might have clients who come to me wanting oils, and I'll help them with looking at ways besides the oils that they can look at what's going on in their life and why they might have reoccurring headaches or whatever. They kind of work hand in hand.
Sure. So your training for all of this is purely, and I don't mean that in any derogatory way at all, but research-based. So you did all of this research and took classes and the like of that, yes?
As far as the essential oils, yeah, exactly. It really is research and workshops and classes on the oils and the chemistry of the oils, and then trying them all out on myself and my friends and a group of people and seeing what they're using and what is working and what isn't. And the textbook says this, but this lady over there said this works, so let's try that. And so it's been kind of,
and you have all of this documented in your files to pull out whenever you need it for a client.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about the coaching aspect?
So the coaching aspect is just something, I've been a coach my entire life. I've just never been paid for being a coach my entire life. So I, through in the last few years of starting to heal my brain and be able to look at, the doctors told me I would never work again, all of those things. And so as I was healing myself, I was putting on women's workshops and starting to do, vision board workshops and gathering women. And I realized that is what I do, is I coach women. And the oils actually really fit in with that because they just really do work hand in hand when women are working on certain issues, but maybe sleep is an issue. So maybe we might bring in some oils around sleep and then talk about, okay, why are you having issues around sleep? So, so it is sort of something that they work hand in hand, but people come to me, they ask me for oil help, and I'll go and meet them for tea, or I'll talk to them about what oils might be helpful, and we'll have like a consultation, and then they're given all the information they need to to sort of do what I do with the oils, and then I get my computer beeps all day long with questions that I love to be able to answer, especially ones that I don't know the answer to, because it gives me an opportunity to do some research.
Yes, which clearly you enjoy doing.
For sure.
Have you always enjoyed doing research?
No, actually. I'm kind of surprised at that because, I mean, I in my life, I call it my past life. I was a teacher, and I really loved teaching people, but the actual research part was never really anything that really I loved. I just sort of liked, giving out the information. But I found that when I really had no choice, I really had to dig deep, because my doctor wasn't going to tell me about the oils, that's for sure. And my, I just had to trust that they were working, and that I needed to figure out a way to find out why they were working and how, because my brain from the past just wasn't going to believe it. I had to really train myself to say, okay, but they're working, so there has to be something. So, the thought of me taking a chemistry class, oh my gosh, I failed chemistry in high school. It was so incredibly boring. And don't get me wrong, I still think chemistry is incredibly boring. But the part that I had to learn about chemistry when I started looking at figuring out an oil that would get into my brain and do some healing, I'm like, okay, how does that work? What do you mean it breaks blood-brain barrier? What the heck does that mean? And so I kind of did that kind of research. So if it serves me, I'm totally good, and I like the research, right? If I can be interested in it. But
sure.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be a chemist.
Well, and when you're motivated, all kinds of things begin to become interesting that shock you. So I imagine that in your coaching business, you are sometimes called upon to find motivation for your clients as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's so
motivation is so important.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so great for me to have some real live stories about where I've been and where I am now. And, I had a woman that I'm coaching talk to me the other day, and before we started our contract, and she said to me, Heather, are you always this happy? Like, do you ever have a bad day? And I said to her, well, actually, I do sometimes have bad days, but I just have so many skills now of what to do with those rough days. And I have so many options between maybe it could be diffusing a specific essential oil, or all these tips and tools that I'm giving to my clients, but they're all stuff that I've had to use to figure out how to get myself out of bed when I've been in bed for a month or whatever, right? So,
yes.
So that's what kind of really makes it, my purpose and my passion, obviously, is about helping. And I say women, I do help men too, but I'm sort of attracted to, or women are attracted to me to come and just get some tips on how they can sort of get out of the rat race and either get some sleep or get rid of their headache and figure out how they can find their purpose too, right?
So your purpose in a nutshell is what?
I think my purpose is to help women find their purpose. And I do
That's
that.
Lovely.
Yeah, and I think I do that by, usually they come to me not necessarily looking for their purpose, but by the time we get through it, they're ready, because they've had blocks in their way, whether it's health issues that they've come to me because of oil issues, the oils that can maybe help them. But I think for me, I love being around women who, were me just before my car accident. Because I know that when I was there, I probably wouldn't have listened to a woman like me. If I would have said to myself before that car accident, Heather, you need to slow down, because believe me, women told me that. I didn't listen. And so I feel like I really love to be around women and that are sort of ramping up into this rat race of life. and I'm able to kind of just get into their life and just say a few words to them, it really brings me a lot of joy, that's for sure.
Well, and it is hard to stop a train. And when you're a whirling dervish, all I can say is, and I am a whirling dervish, and all I can say is get out of my way because I'm going to mow you down. Not really, but so many of us are bred with, if you're not working, you're not worthy.
Right. Exactly.
And that really is, well, I was going to say that's a woman thing, but it's not.
No.
It's not. A lot of men feel exactly the same way. If you're not working, you're not worthy. And so that drives us into the world of busyness.
Right. So when I say that my car accident was a gift, it really truly was, because I literally was on the highway and was hit by a dump truck. And literally to think that is just this horrific thing. But really, for me to be able to find my purpose and slow down to be able to find it, I wouldn't have been able to do that in the race that I was, what I thought my normal was, which was that rat race. And I was brought up like you and most people, like you don't sit on the couch and you don't, laze around and you're go, 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 right? And
absolutely.
So for me to find my purpose, I had to have a dump truck hit me. So I like to be able to say to women, before the dump truck hits you, let's see what else we can do, because you can go through it my way and come out I have the most incredible life you could ever imagine. But what I had to go through to get here, I would love to be able to help a woman so that it doesn't have to get to that place. Right?
Yeah, that's a pretty extreme way of slowing down, getting hit by a dump truck. I mean, you would think that was a metaphor, but in your case, it was an actual.
That's right. That's right.
Wow. Yeah. So you are now called to help people understand that the busyness doesn't necessarily create happiness, and to slow down and to heal from within, whether it's through counseling, aided by essential oils, and through natural ways of being. Yes?
Exactly.
I'm so glad I said it that way then. So what I would like to know then is, now you are probably, because you're still a type A person, whether you have slowed down or whether you have not, I'll bet you dollars to donuts that you're still a type A personality. So here comes the $50,000 question, which is, what do you do now to balance your work, your family, your social life, your emotional care? What do you do to keep it all in check?
So, what do I do? Okay, so I had to have a routine when I was first got sick, had my accident, to kind of get me up out of bed and to slowly do things. And I had workers that would sort of help me, relearn to do things. And so what I realized is I have to have a schedule, and my schedule has to have certain pieces in it, and if it doesn't, I get ramped up and, back into the old grind, and the wheels start turning again. So my life now starts out, in my morning with my cup of green tea, and it always begins with a hike in the forest with my dog, which is a place where I get, my downloads and my information that I need to have for the day, and it's my beginning place, and it sets me in the right space to come home and to know that I've got a certain amount of time set aside for work. And then I have my family that is number one priority, and I know that now because it wasn't back then, although I would have told you it was back then.
But it really wasn't.
It really wasn't. And so I have set, when I decided that I was able to start working again, that I knew that really was something that was important to me. So I really was able to brainstorm what what is my biggest important things. And my family was so huge to me. So I make that a priority. I make dinner every night. We sit down for dinner every night. And I cook healthy meals. And I, do things on the weekends with my family. So for me to get ramped up into work is really difficult because I don't have a lot of space for it to happen. It doesn't fit. And if I had space for it, it probably would, like you said, start turning into that. But my life is busy without the toxic busyness.
Yes. And we all have we don't all. I can't say that, not a bit. Many of us have toxic busyness. Mm-hmm. It's like the bubonic plague of the Middle Ages. Yeah. With this disease that killed off such a huge bit of the population. And now we are doing the same thing with busyness, and we're getting heart disease, and we're getting all manner of, and obesity, and all manner of things because we are not centered on our value and our true cause, right?
That's right. And we sometimes need somebody, whether it's a coach or a mentor or a friend or something, to help us be reminded of that. Right?
Yes. Although I imagine part of the problem is that people like me who are running around like a chicken, I heard a fellow say a chicken on a bad hair day, are not about to realize that we are completely swamped in our busyness. It becomes the norm, just like it was for you. So how do you, are they at the mercy of some sort of wake-up call? How do you bust through the busyness in the first place? Because a lot of people enjoy the busyness.
Right.
Without ever realizing that they're doing themselves harm. I take a great deal of satisfaction in running around like a chicken with a bad hair day. I think that's great, and I get a tremendous amount of energy surge from it, and I don't want to hear that ultimately it's going to harm me.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? I think I'm on a roll. So what does it take besides a dump truck? Do you do any workshops? Do you do any, how do you, when you're faced with what clearly is a person on the wrong path that's clearly doing themselves harm, do you approach them? Do you just wait until they come to that realization? What is the connection that has to be made between you and the people that need you?
Good question. That's $1 million one for sure. So I'm really good at connecting and gathering women. Women sort of come to me for issues, and I've always put on vision board workshops and stuff like that. So women think of a vision board workshop as, oh, I'm going to go and I'm a busy person. My life is just busy, and I'm going to go to a vision board workshop. But what happens when women gather in a circle or, at a workshop, and start looking at their dreams, I think it's a starting place for women to start seeing that you don't have to have all that stuff and all that busyness. And then it's because usually what comes out of that is health issues, or people start sharing issues around their marriages aren't working out, or, they're having an issue with, their kids. And so women are free to start talking about what's going on in their lives. And I think when we talk about it, we're like, oh my God, wait a minute. Maybe I'm not the best mom I could possibly be, or maybe I don't have time for myself. So it is a good, I've always done vision board workshops because women love to come to them, and some women really get a lot more than just a board that they go home. They start looking at their lives, and I feel like I'm a real role model for, you can have an incredibly awesome life. I have so much fun and do so many fun things, but it's not the toxic stuff. When I think about myself in that, what I call my past life, there was a lot of red wine that got me through the stress. I got home from work and I made my family dinner, But I tell you, it wasn't the dinners that I'm making now, and I don't know exactly how I did it after 2 glasses of wine, but I needed that so that I could fall asleep after. So then I would fall asleep after, but then I needed something in the morning to wake me up, and, and so, yeah, I think when women are starting to slow down enough to be in circles of women and start gathering and start talking about their lives, they start seeing that maybe there is it doesn't have to be so busy to be great.
Now women are a natural target because apparently women love to gather. And they enjoy the social and the camaraderie of other women. Where does that leave our men? Because our men are suffering from exactly the same things, but how do we get through to them?
Well, and I've never really worked with men specifically as far as in circles or gatherings. I've had men clients when I worked for mental health and stuff. But I think with men, when I look at my husband, I think the reason why he is so healthy is because he goes and he is around other men, healthy men. And so I don't expect men to go and sign up to sit in a circle and light a candle in the middle and talk about their issues. But I'm talking about, I joke around about, because I belong to different women's circles and stuff. So I joke around with my husband about his men's circle. But his men's circle is going to play hockey. He golfs with his, men friends. And he gets filled up in a different way. They don't talk about their problems, they talk about who won the hockey game, but they're still getting together. And I think men in their busyness and their twirling around and around aren't gathering with other men and aren't getting that in a different way than women do, but they have to get together. And of course it has to be a non-toxic environment. I'm not suggesting men go to the bar and get drunk and talk about the hockey game, right?
So and how much they love each other while in a head grip, right?
Exactly. But men need to be around men. Healthy men need to be around healthy men, or unhealthy men need to be around healthy men so they can get healthy, right? And same with women.
But my question is, how do you get them to realize that they are in a situation that is ultimately harming them? I mean, for women, it's easy. Women love going to workshops. Women love going to sessions. Women sign up for this stuff all the time. But what is left because we've got to get through to our men too, who are whirling dervishly around their lives. How do we get them to understand that a drop of peppermint can do so much good for them? Men like peppermint as much as women do. So do you have any idea how we might be able to, are there any men dealing with essential oils that could start a campaign? What do we do with our men?
Well, my husband is an incredible advocate, and it's funny because the women who order the oil kit, some of them, their men order them for them because I tell them to. I go, you want to make your wife happy? Buy her this kit, and I'm telling you, your life is going to be incredible because I'm going to teach you how to rub oils in your feet every night. So, of course, they buy their wives the kit, right? So, and what I tell women when they first get the oils is go slow, like this strong scents, especially some of the floral scents. Like, don't go shoving them in your man's face, but start doing things where they're going to see results and they're going to want to have the oils. And my husband talks about me with his friends all the time. I actually supply his entire hockey team with a hockey spray. And because a lot of the guys are single guys and they don't wash their smelly, sweaty hockey gear. And it is toxic. I mean, there are hockey players who've lost their limbs from putting their hands in the bacteria-filled gloves, right? And so yeah. I have an essential oil blend that I mix in a spray bottle that I get my husband to spray his gear with, and it takes the smell away and it also kills the bacteria. So I've made, and his whole team, I even put their team logo on this spray. So, so when they start seeing that it's working, they'll start advocating too. But it's up to us women, I think, to kind of teach them that this can that we can do this. I mean, my husband would have never thought that he could have not had Advil one day in his life before he used a couple of the other oils that he uses. He would have no idea, and he is so grateful for the oils for what they've brought me, being so healthy. And also, when he's, pulled his back out or something, I'm not going to get him a muscle relaxant that I don't know what is doing in his body. I'm going to put some oils together and grab some coconut oil and rub it into his back, and he's going to get the same relief, if not better. Plus, it really connects men and women together, that the partners, when you can be rubbing oils on your feet. My favorite story is a woman who's been using Young Living oils forever, and she started as her kids were born. They were born into these oils, and she would every day massage oils into their feet every day, because in your feet is one of the best places to put the oils, because it'll go right up through your body really quickly. And her kids are now teenagers, and not only are they, come home from school at 16 and say, "Mom, where's the peppermint? I got a headache." They'll sit on the couch and ask their mom to rub their feet. And there's that 5 minutes or 10 minutes that she has with her teenage sons, who, what parent gets 5 or 10 quiet minutes with their son on the couch rubbing their feet? Like, there's so much more to just what the oils can do for your health, but how, just the touch. We've lost so much of that, sitting quietly and rubbing and touching each other.
Sounds lovely. So I have a question for you. What if people are extremely sensitive to scent? For example, I know these are all natural ingredients, but what happens when you have an allergy to natural ingredients? What happens then?
Okay, so if you have an allergy to, let's say, lavender, you're not going to have an allergy to lavender oil, because it's the proteins in the plant that you're actually allergic to. And when they distract the oils don't have the proteins. So it's there are one or two, and I can't think of them offhand, and they're not a regular type of plant that you might even know of, that you can get traces of the protein, or there is something else in them. But so you're pretty much 99% chance that if you're allergic to a plant, you're not going to be allergic to that specific oil. So you don't have to worry about that. And if you have a reaction, which is very rare, they say that it really is about your body detoxing. So you could have a little bit of a rash or a little bit of a headache from an oil. And what I was told, which I thought was really strange when I first got the oil, and they said if you have an oil that you get and you don't like the smell, it means that your body needs it. And I thought, well, that's really odd. And so I had this one oil that I was told would be really good for depression, but I really didn't like the smell of it. It's really strong and really flowery. So she said to me, just put it on your feet for a while. So I just every day put it on my feet. And now it's one of my favorite oils, and I put a drop on my heart every day, and it's really supposed to help with uplifting feeling and not feeling depressed. And so it's one of my favorite oils now. So whether or not that's true, and you choose to believe that, at the time I certainly didn't, but now, so I do tell people, if you're getting an oil for a specific reason and you don't like the smell, just pop it on your feet.
So how long do the aromas hang around?
Well, it kind of depends. I have some diffuser necklaces that I sell and that I have that I can put an essential oil on, and it can stay one drop on it, and it'll still smell like 2 days later. So these oils are quite a lot stronger than ones that you might buy at the health food store.
Yes.
But when people say to me about some oils, for example, rose oil is the most expensive oil you can possibly buy. And it for a tiny little bottle, it's like $200.
Oh my goodness.
It's got incredible health benefits, obviously, but it has the highest vibration. So if you're thinking about you want to vibrate at a high vibration to ward off depression and illness and all of that, when you put an essential oil with high vibrations, it's going to help you to vibrate higher. So when women say to me, how much is that rose oil? I know it's expensive and I've always wanted to try it. Sometimes I'll say, and they know they really would like it, sometimes I'll say to them, how much money do you spend on perfume? And do you know what is in your perfume? Because when you're putting perfume on with all the toxins, and there's a lot, when you put those into your skin, imagine what it would cost for you to put 1 drop of rose oil on your body instead of a spritzer of toxic whatever that you're spending. So, if you kind of look at it that way, it's not that expensive. It is one of those oils that should be on every woman or every person's wish list. If you have all the money in the world, everybody should have rose oil. But it's certainly very precious.
I understand. I'm with you completely, 100% about the toxins in fragrance. For example, I cannot safely go to the opera or the symphony or anywhere else where people gathered because I instantly get a headache from the toxins, because people don't just dab perfume on, they bathe in it and they put 15 kinds on. So I am extremely wary of wearing anything with scent in it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So are you saying that because they are very strongly scented but without the toxins, that it's not the scent that bothers me, it's all the other carriers?
It probably is the other carriers, because I used to have the Febreze type sprays in my house.
Oh, you didn't.
And the Bounce fire sheets and all of those things that had those smells before. And now that I've taken my life to this place where I don't have any of those toxins in my world, if I walk into a room where, a laundry room with even the tiny bit of a smell of one of those dryer sheets, or anywhere near even a candle, a lit scented candle now. I used to light those all over my house. My life was so toxic, it was incredible. And now if I go into a room with a scented candle, I instantly feel ill. I just feel ill. So whether or not the whole perfume, when people say they're sensitive to it, is it the scent or is it what they're smelling and what toxins are in there? I mean, I don't know the answer, but I can imagine what it might be.
It's brutal. My house is scent free. Mm-hmm. There are no perfumes in my house. Hair products are scent free. They're hard to find. There are no candles. There is no Febreze. There is no fabric softener. Everything is scent free because of my vicious reactions to scent.
Right.
So, my question about how long does the scent last is purely out of my defensive posturing here about the brutal reaction that I have to scent.
Right. Well,
so, but I know, because I've done a great deal of research too on what the carriers are for all these scent. And oh my goodness, the toxins that are included in scent. And I'm really pretty sure that that's what I'm reacting to.
Right. Well, I think the cool thing about having essential oils, and if you have the kit and it comes with this great diffuser. And so I have a scent going on in my living room. But not only does it smell nice, but it is doing so much healing. There's one particular oil that I pretty much only have in my diffuser all the time, especially if people come over, because it will literally protect me from getting the flu. And so I keep that, and it smells amazing. It's kind of got cinnamon and clove, and it's just delicious. I just love the smell. And so when I'm having classes at my house, or I've got people coming over, or if I've forgotten to put it on and someone starts coughing, believe me, that's in my diffuser. So my house smells nice, but it's doing things as well. So when you light a scented candle, you're just putting toxins in the air.
Yes.
And when you're turning on your diffuser, you're putting this oil into the air, which you're breathing in this beautiful smell, but it's also healing things in your body that you don't even necessarily know that it's healing.
What a wonderful thing. Are you aware, my friend, that we have completed a full hour?
Wow.
We have gone a full 60 minutes of incredible information and such a lovely conversation that we've had. I thank you so much for being on the show. If people want to get a hold of you, they should get a hold of you at www.islandoillady.com, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Wonderful. This has been Heather Clark sharing her amazing journey of going from a toxic lifestyle to a toxic-free and happy, healthy lifestyle, and spreading joy with her brilliant smile wherever she goes, and sharing her amazing knowledge on the subject of essential oils. Thank you, Heather, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is Rosemary Barnes, the Maverick Voice at Confident Stages and the host of Off the Coast, Views from Vancouver Island. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you next Wednesday at 2:00 for another amazing guest from the paradise that is Vancouver Island.
Thank you for listening to Off the Coast, Views from Vancouver Island, with host Rosemary Barnes. To book Rosemary as a speaker or speaking coach, or to offer suggestions of extraordinary guests for the show, please visit her website at www.confidentstages.com.